Hello sunshine, this is Joy from Michigan in the United States, and I am going to try to do a reverse flower dip for you guys again today. If you saw my video from yesterday, man, what a mess that was. I think it was yesterday or the day before. I tried to do the same colors for a reverse flower dip. So I'm going to try to slow down and to really think through what I want my finished result to look like. I'm going to use the same colors, same process, and hopefully be able to stop before I completely ruin it, which is what I did yesterday. So I was trying to figure out when I did the reverse flower dip yesterday, this is the crimson red that I used. And I also put together a custom goldenrod color using this yellow as my base. This is cadmium medium yellow. Cadmium yellow medium. I always get it backwards. So I thought, well, maybe one of these is opaque and the other one's not. And that's why the red tip took over. So you can look on your paint, it'll show you how opaque it is, or how much of how transparent is an easier way. Opaque is you can't see through it, transparent. So this one you can see is, maybe I can, if I get it in the right spot, it's about 50%. So it's kind of right in the middle. So I thought, okay, my yellow must be different because that's what I used, but it's the same. So that was not the issue. The red really took over, so maybe I just poured too much red on. So when you have issues like that, I think it's always great to be able to go and look and see on your paint what you're dealing with so that you can rule out, okay, well, it wasn't that issue, maybe it was this one. So I'm thinking I was just heavy-handed with my red. So I'm gonna start, I'm using a wood block instead of the thin round. And it's not super thick. I don't know if you guys can see it with the lighting in here, but the actual top of it is just from here to here. So very thin. But because of the way it's designed, they held up better. I've never had any of these warp. Whereas my little plywood circles, I will grab one. This is my plywood circle that I tried to pour on yesterday. And they do warp a bit, and the poor back of it just got banged up. But very, very thin, but probably it's thicker than this, but this has the support around the edges, and I think that's what makes the difference. So I'm gonna do it on this because I know I've used these before for reverse flower dips, and they work really, really well. So before I forget, I did want to show you one thing. Oh goodness, sorry, I had to go to the other side of my room here. So this is a reverse dip that I did quite a while ago. I'll see if I can find the link for it and put it in the description on this in case you want to watch this one as well. And I was a little disappointed in how this one dried. It's still pretty, but it had all this blue through the edging here that has now disappeared. And I'm sure, I'm not going to pull my bottles out right now or this video will get way too long, but I'm sure the gold is not transparent at all. So once it dries, you lose that color that was underneath. So just a tip for you guys. Check that out. If you don't want a color to take over, just be mindful of how much of it you use, because this went from a lovely blue, red, orange flower with a little bit of pink in there to gold. So I'm sure someone will love this, but it's just, I felt it was prettier wet than it was dry. So I wanted to share that with you guys. And like I said, I'll try to figure out how to put the link to that video in the description on this one. So I'm just gonna try to get, trying to get a little more light in this room. Hopefully you guys can see okay. I just opened my curtain. Hopefully that helps. All right, so let's get started on today's project. So the wood, I do find really absorbs a lot of paint. So just be mindful of that if you're painting on wood. I love painting on wood. The finished product is really nice. You can resin it, which I really like if you like to resin. And you have to be careful because resin gets heavy. So with wood, I don't ever have to worry about that. In fact, I'm going to pull something else out for you guys real quick. Okay, so this is a painting that I did, I don't know, over a year ago. But I put resin on it, which is just such a beautiful finish. I love the look of resin. It's just very, very pretty, very glass-like. So this was just a piece of scrap wood, and I put this little painting on it, and then we just put this little hook on the back so it can be hung. pretty easy to do, and I feel like it's very pretty. So that's what resin on wood looks like. And this was, I don't know, there's a couple little flaws in it. This was pretty early in my resining experiments. So, but it came out very pretty in my opinion, for one of my first attempts. So it is, you have to be really careful with resin and follow the instructions exactly. But as long as you do that, it works quite well, and I just think it's a lovely finish. So I will probably resin that gold flower that I showed you guys at some point, and I'm hoping that when I do that, it'll bring back some of those other colors that we lost. Sometimes a varnish will do that. I use Liquitex varnish on a lot of things, and then occasionally I use resin. I love resin, but like I said, you have to be very precise. You have to be very careful to make sure that you do it correctly, or it will dry funky. And I have had, I'm trying to remember what piece it was. I had a piece that the first coat of resin, you have to be really careful. If you use silicone, it all has to be off that painting before you put resin on, because resin will not adhere to a surface with silicone on it. So you'll end up with little bubbles where the resin just kind of pulls away from the canvas. And so I have had that happen. The beautiful thing is with resin, you can go in and do another coat and it will fill in those holes. So I just did a real thorough cleaning after it had cured completely, and then did a second coat. So I need to get my edges on this, guys. I would recommend doing that. But I'll do it off camera probably. Well, maybe not. I'll pause the video. I'm gonna get my edges, and then I'll be right back with you. Guys, back with you. I'm gonna start putting my colors on, but I wanna talk about something different, and then I'll tell you what my colors were. So I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and what I found is that compared to a lot of other artists, my videos are kind of long. So if you're watching this, let me know, what do you prefer, shorter or longer, or do you just not care? And then if you prefer it shorter, what method of shortening I can't even get the words out. How do you prefer it be shortened? Do I show you less of my process? Do I speed it up and not talk? Just let me know what you think. I'd love to get some outside opinions. I've asked other people, but they're all people that have a relationship with me, so sometimes that can impact their answers. So, all right, here goes nothing. I'm going to start, this is titanium white with iridescent medium, so it's an iridescent white. I am going to give it a little bit of a stir. Everything else I shook up really well. This was all mixed up last night. No silicone in any of this. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, iridescent white to begin with. And iridescent white sometimes creates some really pretty lacing. I know I've got white on my background, so it seems kind of funny to start with iridescent white that you're not really gonna see, but that's the reasoning. I'm hoping for the effect it will give, not necessarily the color. Oh my goodness, couldn't get my red to open. All right, so this is crimson. I showed you guys that bottle earlier. Such a pretty color. I really, really like this one. I'll order this one again for sure. And I'm gonna try. Oops. Well, I'm gonna have to go a little bit heavier this time because I was trying to use less crimson because I want my goldenrod color to really show up. And yesterday it just all but disappeared. So I don't want that to happen today. So here goes our goldenrod. This is Cadmium Yellow Medium Hue, medium yellow, whichever way it's supposed to be, with Cadmium Orange Hue and just a little tiny bit of Dioxazine Purple. So I'm going to, yesterday I did not use this. This is copper. This is my Reeves copper. I really, really like metallics, and I really like what they can do with your painting, and I think copper is a better color. Yesterday I used silver, and it got lost anyways, but I think the copper will be very pretty. And I can't tell where it is in this bottle, so I'm trying not to pour too much of it all at once. Here it comes. Ooh, this might be a little bit thick. Okay, so one of the drawbacks of using a bottle is you can't check your consistency. So I'm just gonna pour it into a cup. Maybe it's okay. It just looks thick at first, coming towards the end of the bottle there. So it actually looks clumpy. It was not clumpy when I put it in the bottle, but I know metallic paints are really, really hard to get mixed smoothly. So let me see. No, the thickness is good. We'll see. This may not, maybe that's air bubbles. I'm not sure. I shook it, so it could definitely be air bubbles. Let's pray it's that. All right, I'll get back to it. Add some copper here. See, it feels a little thick going on this, but it passed the drizzle test, so I'm not sure. And again, I'm trying to do a color in between yellow and purple because I don't want brown. This is Dioxazine Purple. And then we will go right back to, maybe we'll do a little bit more of the Iridescent White, which may give us a little bit of pink, but I don't know that that bothers me. I feel like, oh, heavens to Betsy, that side got a lot of white. Oh goodness, guys, I'm gonna have an uneven flower again. Okay, we'll make it work. It's going to be a perfectly imperfect flower. That's a lot of white. Oh goodness. Get some yellow in there. And then we'll go with copper again. And do I do purple on top of that, or do I end with copper? I think I'm gonna end with copper, guys. Okay. So I'm gonna blow that down. My goal is to blow it off of the bottle bottom so that I can twist this and do another set of petals. But notice I don't know, maybe I'm gonna have to check with a level to see if my table's uneven. It shouldn't be, but I feel like over here, I know I spilled the white, maybe that's why, but there's even more color spread out. So we'll see. All right, pardon the back of my head. All right. Try to get that copper down into the petal. And then we're gonna lift this, turn it. I think I need to cut some notches too because the middle is mostly white, which is not what I'm looking for. I would like to get some other colors in there, but for now, we're gonna go with it. We're going to just extend that line, wipe off. This is a skewer, like you'd use on a barbecue, and I'm using the flat end, not the pointy end. Look how lopsided that petal is. So hopefully this turns out gorgeous. I really, really love this red and yellow together. If this doesn't turn out the way I'm hoping, I will probably switch, not on this one, I'll save whatever I get here, but do the same colors in a Dutch pour because I have a feeling that would do some really beautiful things. So a little bit of iridescent white, not poured evenly. Let's see if we can help it. I don't know that that did anything at all. Okay, I'm gonna try to be light-handed with the crimson now because a little goes a long way. And then this Goldenrod custom yellow color. And then copper. Okay, and then the Dioxazine Purple. Trying to decide how much of that I want. Go back to, my petals are very uneven, which could be that the bottle bottom is cut uneven too, but we'll see. Just a little bit of this iridescent white, and then quickly add the crimson. No, I mostly say purple on this one. This is yellow. This is my Goldenrod. I do want quite a bit of that. And then we're gonna finish it off with the last of this bronze in this little cup here. Not bronze, I'm sorry, copper. which is quite a bit. So there'll be a lot of metallic in that petal, but that's okay. All right. Pardon the back of my head again. Okay, I blew that petal just a little bit accidentally. All right, I'm gonna let that paint kind of go towards the middle. That's what we really want. These petals have turned out so crazy lately. All right, let's just hop to it. Pull it into the middle. You can see it kind of helps give a petal effect in the middle. It doesn't pull much of the paint in, but it does give some shape to the flower. See, this is probably a part that I could eliminate. I could skip this part. You guys wouldn't have to watch this, but let me know what you think. Oh, it's still so very lopsided, and I don't know that tilting it is the right answer. I do seem to tilt a lot of my flowers. I'm not sure that I should. I do it. I'm not advising it. Okay. We're gonna call that good enough. I just can't seem to get this lately, and I don't know if it's the paint I'm using or the mood I'm in, or if you're a painter, I'm sure you know how that works. Well, at least for me, my mood really does seem to impact my art, so. All right, here goes nothing. This is just dry paper towel. And the goal is to have no air bubbles. Just gonna pat, see if we can pat some of that color towards the middle, which might be a bad idea, but we're just gonna try, see what we get. Okay. And let's pull it up. Yesterday, I really should have been happy with what I had the very first time, and I just kept fiddling with it. So I'm gonna try to not do that today. There is a point where this gets really kind of slippery and it wants to slide around, and it's really, really hard to lift it. There's that pretty flower. You guys probably can't see that with the glare. It was pretty though. Okay. Well, this isn't too bad. I wish I had more there. I don't like all that white there, but we definitely have more yellow, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to put a little heat on it. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to add some white to the edges here. I did not get any lacing with all that metallic and the iridescent white. I really thought we would get some lacing. So that kind of surprises me, but all right, I just don't want to lose the white here and have any wood grain showing through, so. All right. I do want to just kind of try, without ruining it, just to walk it down just a little bit this way. I'm actually liking this as an off center, just right there maybe. See if we can get rid of this white blob right there. I feel like that's where all my metallic is right there in the middle, which makes sense because that's where I dropped the most of it. These cells here that are so tiny, that's because I had that heat on that too long. I should use my other one. In fact, I'm going to. Because I feel like there's more under there. trying to even out my white here. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think. I'm going to leave this one. I'm going to let it dry. I'm really surprised by the effects that I do not see. I feel like it got really muddy. And I just don't see, even using that iridescent white, I usually get at least a little bit of lacing, and usually with the metallic as well. So I'm just not sure. I'm tempted to turn it into a Dutch pour, but I'm not going to because I learned my lesson yesterday. So I will end here. I will take you in for a close-up. If you haven't already, I would love it if you would subscribe to my subscribers. Thank you all so much. I appreciate each and every one of you as you join me on my art therapy journey. I hope that this encourages you and makes you want to create something of your own. All right, thanks guys. See you on the next one.